that good volume?
Can everybody hear that? Does that sound all right?
You sound fantastic.
Well, it being 6 o'clock and everybody's here, so if you would, please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a seat. So I thought we'd do tonight, first off, there's a few uncontested races, and just to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves and stuff. I thought I'd go through the candidates that are unopposed and hit the names, and if you'd like to say a few words, then great, come on up. If not, you just give me the high sign and we'll move on. So we have Town Clerk with Tara Hayes.
Great. Hi everyone, my name is Tara Hayes. I'm running for Town Clerk. This will be my third term. I want to thank everyone for all their support in the past, and I hope you will support me going forward. Thank you.
She's also going to be your moderator this year for a little while.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Where are you going with that?
I got to take it for a second. I'm keeping you in mind.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing. All right.
I did see it.
Okay, we have Sheila Buzzell for the assessors. Sheila?
Not here.
Nope, not here, okay. Board of Health, Susan Johnson.
Thank you. My name is Susan Johnson. I have never been in town office before, but I have lived in North Brookfield for 40 years now. I'm a retired veterinarian, so I do have some medical and health experience and knowledge that prompted me when I saw this open position. Some other friends prompted me to think about running for the spot. And when I learned a little bit more about it, I said I would give it a go and try to do my best, but I know I have a lot to learn. We did have an issue on the lake. I live on Lake Lashaway, and we did have an issue this fall with a blue-green algae bloom. And the Board of Health in North Brookfield was extremely helpful, particularly Ethan Millard, in helping us through it and giving us guidance on what to do. So he inspired me to maybe be part of that crew. So hopefully I can learn a little bit more about what goes on in town and do a good job. Thank you.
We have Janice King here, don't we, for library trustee? Out in the South 40. Right up here, come on up. Don't be shy. Not that you ever have been.
Good evening, everyone. I'm looking to add an opportunity to my support of the town's programs through the library as a library commissioner, and I appreciate all of your support to do that. My background, just recently retired and have been in education all my life, master's degree in education, and I would like to really contribute a great deal to the programming and considering, all the different opportunities we have with library grants and programs. I think we can really do some amazing things, and I think the library's done a great job up to this point, and I just hope to be able to add to that. So thank you very much.
Great. Next, we're into Constable. Now, we have a four-way race for 3 seats. So we have 2 with us tonight, Vaughn Schlegel and Chris St. Cyr. Why don't you 2 come on up and we'll sit down at the table and do a little talk.
Sorry, Chris.
Said no surprise, Jim. Thanks a lot.
I don't know how many of you remember Gene Kai, my predecessor as moderator, but Gene had a way of coming in and being funny sometimes, and he'd come in and there was all the constables were at one of our meeting, and he says, so is, referring to them all as the constabulary, so I see we have our constabulary here. So, gentlemen, What does a constable do? I'll let Mr. St. Cyr go first.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris St. Cyr. What a constable does is he helps out with the court papers and the legal paperwork from lawyers, and goes around and pretty much serves the papers to the people when needed. And it also entails working with landlords and helping with evictions and stuff like that.
So I got this off a town website, and this definition is: a constable in Massachusetts is a law enforcement officer with the authority to serve court documents, assist at execution of writs, maintain order during court proceedings, and perform other duties as assigned. Constables have the power to arrest persons for breach of peace when warranted, and they also enforce civil process orders such as eviction orders and no trespass warrants for businesses and residents. And a lot of what the job entitles is posting warrants for town meetings around public places such as the library, police department, post office, the town offices, most of the public places that the town owns or is public property.
I just threw you guys under the bus there just because we all have constables, but what do they do? Now we know. So there's quite a bit of details to them. Now, to regards to the town meeting votes, why is it so important to post these meetings and into multiple places, do you think? Any?
Well, I think one of the main reasons would be to let everybody in the area know what's going on in their town, and that way there they can voice their opinions and their concerns and thoughts.
That's true.
Well, as I stated, the places where these warrants are posted is places where townspeople frequent quite a lot. They will see all these notices, whatever they may be, posted in bulletin boards to see what's going on, not just town business, but anything any nonprofits put up or charities, schools. So the warrant being there, they'll see that if they're already looking for other information, and maybe somebody will go, oh, I didn't even know there was a town meeting. I mean, it's good to put out additional information as well. This is just the law, the basic requirements to post the town meetings.
Okay, great. Is there anything you'd like to add to your statements? I mean, there's not a whole lot to your job, so we don't really have a discussion to go with, but is there anything you'd like to say about your position?
I'm just going to give a little bit of background. I mean, a lot of you already know me. I started off my career with local government, being on the planning board, then the finance committee. I was on the board of selectmen for a time before I unfortunately had to resign due to conflict of interest with my job. But I wanted to somehow stay maintaining being involved in the town, so this opportunity came up, and it's been around for a while. It's something I had thought about and decided to go for it because I want to stay engaged with the town.
I guess it's, well, very similar reasons. I wanted to get to know more about the town, assist how I could. My background is manufacturing. I build and repair surgical equipment. I've been in North Brookfield for about 10 years, and I grew up in Southbridge and Charlton for the most part. But again, I wanted to learn more about the town and do my part.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your input. And like I said, this is a 4-person run for 3 seats, so you're going to have to make a decision somewhere at the polls as to which one doesn't get the seat back or whatever. So, again, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, if our selectman candidates could come up, the ones that are here. Now, to keep things fair tonight, I have drawn up some numbers here, and I will give you gentlemen an opportunity to pick a number. Just pick a piece, and they're unknown. I don't know which one is what, so where's the odd one out?
He's coming, he's
Oh.
picking himself up water over there.
Does anyone else want to do it?
Don't know what the number is, so you'll... All right. I do that because it's, I don't want there to be any appearance that I'm favoring one person over another. So I haven't seen those numbers. I don't know what they got. So gentlemen, what do you got for your numbers?
2.
Okay. So now before we start in our discussions, Mr. Tripp couldn't be here tonight. So he asked me to please read a letter from him to you folks. Hopefully I can do it justice and I won't fumble it too bad. Mr. Tripp says, "Good evening. I'm sorry I was not available for this event tonight, but I am grateful that Mr. Caldwell agreed to read my responses to these questions for me. Please feel free to call me at home after 6 p.m. On my landline if you have any questions for me." So question number 1, tell us what position you are running for and why do you want to become a member of the selected office of committee. I don't understand that, but I am running again for a 3-year position of the Board of Selectmen, a spot that I actually enjoyed for 5.5 years. As you know, I got out because of some health issues at that time, but now I think I'm back in control of things, I hope. Question number 2, what do you believe are the key requirements for the position, and explain how you meet those criteria? What experience or strengths would you bring to that would add value to the committee? I believe the one thing needed for the position is the understanding of what is expected of you. I believe communicating with various departments is paramount. When I was in before, I always made sure to stop in to the police, fire, highway, water, sewer, senior center, town offices, etc., at least once a week and talk with the main people of those areas. Amongst the many projects I accomplished for the town, with the support of my wife and family and many volunteers, I managed to gather in my travels. I believe talking to people and trying to understand the situation they are in. We have to know that we can't fix everything and that none of us is perfect. You can't make everyone's dream come true. Number 3, what do you consider the number 1 issue facing North Brookfield? And why, and how do you feel, if elected, you would best represent your new position to impact change on this issue? The number 1 issue with the town of North Brookfield, I believe, is our financial situation. We are broke. We do not believe that, or I do not believe that we can tax our way out of this mess. We all need to, as citizens of a small town, need to call, write, email, if you can, send courier pigeon, if it suits you, to our state reps, House of Senate and Senate members, anyone, who will listen and tell them if they mandate something, whether it be for school, conservation, streets, water, sewer, bridges, etc., then they need to also pay for those mandates. We as a small town do not have the resources to pay for these unfunded mandates. I would start a campaign to get these calls made and follow through with state offices. Question 4. Is there anything else you would like the voters to know before the election? Mindy and I have lived in North Brookfield for all of our lives, 65 plus years. We met in kindergarten and were married after high school, 46 years together, and we still like and support each other. I often say that we are pretty much stuck to each other. In the next 3 years, I think we should focus on the unfunded mandates and try to recoup some of the funding through grants and subsidies. It seems like most state and federal money stays in the areas on the east side of Massachusetts, and we, small towns, get the leftovers. I was never a proponent of hiring the town administrator, nor setting aside $300,000 for the ARPA money for this position that I believe was a total failure. Town Administrator Mike meddled in all the departments and put a lot of people on edge. He also took credit for things that he did not start or do. And though all of this, through all this, we lost our highway department. I believe now that Now, what's left of the $300,000 should be spent on the town administrator that's sole responsibility is to write grants for all departments and administer any funding that we get for those departments. This town administrator will only answer to the Board of Selectmen and will not be allowed to sign contracts or pit the departments against one another. Many neighboring towns have had the very same issues with their administrators. I would like to start a keep our town clean committee. With the help of from the police, highway, and our citizens, we can keep the roadsides free of trash. I would like to address the NIP situation. As we all know, they are doing what they are doing to the roadside. This will take more than just talking. I'm not against putting a 15-cent deposit on them or banning them altogether. This has been done in other communities and states. There are also many other projects I would like to pursue, and I think I can get many volunteers to come together and accomplish many things. I would like to get us on the track for the 4th of July parade and party at the Common like we had before. I know I can bring the town together as it should be if we can all stop the political thing, or the politic thing, excuse me. The blame game is useless. None of us are perfect. We can all do our best for ourselves and for our town. I want to thank Mr. Caldwell for reading my comments. If you have any questions, please call me at my home at 508-867-3906 after 6 p.m. Thank you for listening, and I would appreciate your vote. Respectfully, John Tripp. So there you have it. I apologize for my rough reading, but I didn't pre-read that letter, so it's news to me as well as you. All right, so, you guys ready? All right, who was number one? Okay, your first question. Tell us what position you were running for, and why do you want to become a member of the selected officer committee? So we know what position you're going for. Now why do you want to be that?
My name's John Mitchell. My name's John Mitchell, and I'm going for Selectman. 2-year term. I'll be honest, after spending some time working inside our town government, it didn't take me long to see that things are a mess. It's disorganized, there's a lack of communication, and a lot of people, including myself, feel left out. That needs to change.
Sorry, John.
That's okay. I want to bring back the pride and unity that defined our community when I was growing up. I went to school right here in North Brookfield. We played football as teenagers right over on the Common every Sunday. I went to Grove Street School. I was an altar boy at St. Joseph's. I remember my dad's uniforms being picked up by Tony from Tony's Cleaners over in Spencer, right there at my house. And okay, I'll admit it, I might have watched a few drag races down by the dump. But more than anything, I remember how we were all neighbors. We looked out for each other. We were informed, we were involved, and we all felt like we belonged. That's the kind of community I want us to be again. If I'm elected, I'll work to ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness, that we all receive what our taxes are paying for, and that everyone has a voice on the important issues that face our town. I want to change, and I believe you do too. If you're ready for a stronger, more connected community, I'd be honored to have you vote on Election Day.
Okay. Next in line, we have Jamie Gilman. Same question.
My name is Jamie Gilman. Why do I do this? Why do I want to go further with this? And I wrote a piece, put it on Facebook, of all places, and it really came down to community and fellowship. Back a few years ago, I showed up at a Selectmen's meeting looking to further my cause in public access to public and private lands, and a little misguided. I look back on it now. But it stemmed from some history of working at Treasure Valley, Boy Scout camp, and being involved with the Ware River watershed. And I came and I spoke at a selectmen's meeting, and I had a gentleman kind of extend his hand out to me after the meeting and try to and gave me some help and gave me some advice, and quickly became a friend. And from him, I've met other people, and it really became about community and fellowship. And I've met some good folks who have been really helpful and have welcomed me with open arms. And it doesn't take much effort to realize that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And the more hands involved, the easier it is. And like many folks who get involved, you get involved. And my involvement, started with the Town Forest Committee, and that involved, through an effort of Tara, props to you, to create a Parks and Rec committee. And from there, I went to Capital Improvement, which I chair. And as of late, I've been spending a lot of time on the Highway and Fire Building Committee. And there's a big job ahead of us, but I enjoy it. And I enjoy working with the folks that volunteer and give it their all. For me, this running for Selectman of the 3-year seat is a natural progression of kind of what I'm doing now. I'm ready for this. I have worked extremely hard, especially in the past year, of showing up to every meeting, including this one, and looking you all in the face and talking and making myself accessible. Really enjoy the things that I'm doing, and I'm ready for the next step. And I hope that you can have faith in me, and I would appreciate that. And I can promise you, I will do everything I can to make North Brookfield a better place to live.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kay?
My name is Ralph Kay. Is that too close?
No?
I live at 147 Ward Street with my wife of 44 years. We've lived here for about a little over 5.5 years now. I'm running for the 2-year term on the Board of Selectmen. I'm currently an appointee on the school committee. I was appointed at a meeting in January, and my first meeting was in February. It was only for the 3 months up until the May election. Then shortly after I was appointed, this position came up, and I thought that I could have more of an impact on helping North Brookfield to prosper in this position. I'm a retired high school math teacher, and I needed to commit myself to my town. We really like this town, and we'd like to see it get smoothed over and to grow, and I want to be a part of that. I want to help the town to prosper. I grew up in Spencer. Most of our years were in Spencer, and then I lived 16 years on Lake Lashaway, and then we moved here. In Lake Lashaway on the East Brookfield side. I've been a leader all my life. I was an executive at an insurance company. I had 54 employees. I developed budgets. I scheduled work. I helped train and develop employees. And I had a pretty good job. But something was missing, and what was missing was giving to my community. While I was working there, I started coaching, and that was pretty rewarding for me. We had some pretty good teams. And so I decided that I'd become a teacher, and I became a high school math teacher. I got my master's degree at Western New England. So I could give to the community, but also support my family. That was, of course, I had to do that. So I really enjoyed what I was doing, but now I'm retired. I have time. We like this town. I want to give to the town. I want to help. I have no agendas. I don't know a lot of people in this town, so I have no axe to grind. I don't have any enemies that I'm aware of. But When I was in the insurance industry, I learned way back, that was a long time ago, I worked for a company, and then when I left the company, before I became a teacher, I had an insurance agency that I started from scratch on my own. And insurance is not an easy thing to sell. It's not something you can hold or taste or touch. It's trust. It's selling trust. I had to sell myself to people who didn't know me and make them feel comfortable that they can go to bed at night knowing that they and their belongings were safe. Well, this is similar to that, in that a lot of people don't know me, and I need to sell myself and to get your trust in me that I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can for you. I believe in strong communication. I believe in rolling my hands up, on my sleeves up and getting my hands dirty. I get involved. When I decided to get involved, I chose school committee because there was an opening and I had a school background. So it made sense. But I think I can do a better job here for the town than on the school committee. As a teacher, I was a leader of my classroom. 30 around students every period of the day. I had to prepare work, I had to prepare lessons. I had to motivate high school kids that didn't really want to be in math class, a lot of them. I think maybe some of you can relate to that. And get the best out of them. That's not easy to do. I enjoyed it. It was a great challenge. I was pretty good at it. So I have a lot of good skills that I can bring to this position, and I look forward to serving all of you, and I thank you for your support.
Great. All right, the next question. What do you believe are key requirements for the position, and explain how you meet those requirements, or those criteria? What experience and strengths would you bring that would...
All right. I believe the most important part of any town position is putting the people first. That means listening, being honest, and making decisions that help all of us, not just the few of us. I've worked in the highway department in 3 different towns, including North Brookfield. I also spent time working at the sewer department in Spencer and working with the water department in Spencer. I still keep up with these departments, how they run and what they deal with on a daily basis. Which means, from the experience, I know how to talk to the different department heads that we're going to be dealing with, keep an open mind, and help come up with some real solutions that make sense, especially when it comes to staying on budget and trying to keep our taxes low. I've been through a lot in my life, and those experiences have helped me relate to people. I'm a good listener. I know how to talk to folks, and I truly care about what you have to say. I want to be someone that you can come up to anytime, and I'll always do my best to make sure your voice is heard on all the issues. Thank you.
Key requirements for this position. The select board is an interesting group. It's an interesting model for management. You've got a $10 to $20 million business that you are managing with 3 part-timers who don't get paid, who can't communicate with each other outside of open meeting. I can't think of a more effective way to hinder effective leadership than structure.
Hear, hear.
So it's a challenge. So what I see, the key requirements of a candidate, teamwork. Somebody who's a team player. There are no heroes. Ain't no place for heroes in town government. It's not the way it works. Trustworthiness. You can't talk to each other outside an open meeting. That requires you to do your own investigations, your own due diligence, and bring that back to the committee, for the committee to make a decision. We see a lot of information that's brought to the town, sometimes through committees, sometimes through social media. And that information sometimes is cherry-picked to fit a particular agenda or to fit a particular opinion. I don't believe that's the role of a selectman. I believe the role is to bring all the facts. Our organization, the executive decisions are not made by the select board. They're made by the taxpayer. They're made by the voter. It's the select board's job to make sure that when a voter makes a decision, it's an educated decision. And when you bring facts and you bring your research to the committee, you bring it all. The parts that you like and the parts that you don't. And you let things land where they may. Now, understanding how this town works, understanding the committees, understanding the folks that run the committees, that are on the committees, going to meetings, understanding what are the topics at the meetings, respect of townspeople, respecting their opinions, respecting their voices, especially the folks that volunteer, that come home from work and clean up, eat and leave their family, and go to meetings, and talk about the problems, and talk about the solutions. You respect them. You listen to them. You don't disregard their opinion because you don't agree with them. As well as the town employees. We've got, I have to agree with John in some regard that the departments in town, you know, there needs to be some tidying up as far as how the organization works. But boy, we got some good folks. We really do got some good people that work for us. And we need to provide them with the support and leadership that they need and they deserve.
Leave some time for some other folks.
How do I meet this criteria? I've been in management in manufacturing for 30 years. I've worked my way up from the bottom. I am a senior manager at the company I work now. I've been in management in a local company in town here, a manufacturing company, for 15 years. I moved on out to Worcester. I know how to run a plant, I know how to run a business, I run sales. But I also do a lot of volunteer work. And that volunteer work has done me wonders. In changing my leadership at the plant, as well as out in the field. And what I've learned in these volunteer organizations is you have to work with people. You have to listen. It's a cooperation. There's no mandates. Mandates don't work with volunteers. You gotta be able to communicate and meet folks in the middle and work with them. Yeah, I've taken my time.
Good man.
I can go all night on that.
When I think of the requirements for a selectman, an effective selectman, first is listening. Second is communicating. Listening is part of communicating. Being able to communicate with people of all backgrounds, all different points of view. Being patient and being persistent. Persistent in attaining the goals and objectives that the town believes are most important. I believe that there's an appetite for prosperity here. And it's going to require people working together to attain those, to fill those appetites. I have some ideas myself that I'd like to bring to the table with perhaps some groups of people and perhaps make things happen. I believe that an effective selectman needs to be a strong leader. And that doesn't mean imposing will. That's not being a strong leader. A strong leader is one that has a vision and is able to communicate that vision and is able to persevere in hard times, to include other people, to obtain, to reach the objectives that are agreed upon. I believe that a strong leader is one that is willing to do anything at most cost to make that happen. I think of one of my heroes was Abraham Lincoln. And there was no better leader in my mind than Abraham Lincoln when his objective was to keep the Union together at all cost. It even cost him his life. But he solicited cooperation from others. He held people accountable and responsible for their parts, but he made it happen. He was able to motivate and was able to develop leaders under him so that that objective could be attained. And I think I try to live up to those leadership values that Abraham Lincoln brought. I am a very strong analytical person. I believe in data-based decisions, not emotional. Emotional type decisions maybe are kind of what has gotten in the way here a little bit in this town. And database means you're looking at numbers, statistics to justify your decision, and also using the same data to measure your progress towards attaining a goal. I've been doing that my entire life, and that's what needs to happen. Those are skills that I bring to the table to be an effective selectman.
All right, third question. What do you consider to be the #1 issue facing North Brookfield and why? How do you feel, if elected, you would best represent your position to impact change in that issue, or to that issue?
Okay. I believe in full transparency within our town government. And more importantly, I believe in being accessible to you, the residents of this town. No one should feel passed over, disregarded, or left out of the decision-making process. And unfortunately, that's exactly how I'm sure a lot of you have felt and I have felt in the past. Transparency shouldn't be a buzzword. It should be a standard. From the small things, like clearly spelling out the agenda for the meetings, instead of using abbreviations, to the major decisions, like the $9 million warrant that got paid. We need clarity and honesty. Let's be real, no one should have to decode the agenda like it's some kind of a secret message. Everything should be spelled out so we all understand what's going on. We shouldn't feel lost or unintelligent because of how the information is presented. This process should be accessible and easy to understand for everyone. When I asked about the $9 million warrant, I got an answer: borrowing. That didn't really tell me anything. It's just a word. Didn't explain to me where the money went, what it was used for. Didn't tell me anything. Our sewer superintendent, Eric, for example, he's working really hard right now on a grant for the sewer department for the clarifiers. The clarifiers are the heart of the sewer operation at the plant. That's where everything goes. That's the heart of the operation. Why wasn't that included in the original upgrade plans? I don't understand. If you had a bad heart, you wouldn't go to the doctor and ask him for a new arm or a new leg. You'd want to get your heart fixed. So it doesn't make any sense to me. None of this feels transparent. It feels confusing and frustrating and disconnected. I want to change that. I want us all to be better informed, and I want us all to feel confident that we truly understand what's going on. Whether we attend every meeting, one meeting, or no meetings at all, everybody should be well informed. I promise that I'll work tirelessly to being a true transparency and open communication in our town government. Every resident deserves to be heard, respected, and informed. So I'd appreciate it if we could work together for a more transparent future. Thank you.
I'm gonna read the question again.
You want me to read it?
What do I consider the number one issue facing North Brookfield and why? For me, it's a two-part problem. Clearly, finances are our largest problem. It directly affects town services. It severely limits, and there's no quickie, severely limits those resources and those services. And there's no quick, easy solution. And unfortunately, the first demographics that are impacted are the most sensitive, which be the youth and our senior citizens. And it doesn't take much time spent on social media and listening to folks to see that those are the first two groups that get left off when times are hard. But our problem is twofold. It's not only finances. It's that we can't communicate effectively about our problems. We take sides, and I'll use a pretty controversial issue that's out there as an example. The current situation with the school. There were options. There was regionalization. There was tuitioning out. There is a Prop 2.5 override. And there is net school spending. Now, where I work, if I go to the executive board and they present me with this problem, what do? I bring I bring options, and I explore all those options. And we talk about all those options. And maybe they ask me what my opinion is. But I do due diligence on each of those options, and I share that information with the townsfolk, okay? Because you folks are the ones who decide. Not the select board. Not the school committee. I understand they make they make the direct decision. But it's you folks who control the purse strings. And what I see is a classic example of North Brookfield is you might get 51% of the people who agree that we're going to do something. And the 49% may have had other ideas. Those ideas weren't really discussed. Their questions weren't really answered. So those folks are a bit disenchanted, disenfranchised. And the rest of the 51% are tethered to those people. So what happens is we really go nowhere. We end up going nowhere. We make one decision after another and really go nowhere because not everybody's on board. And I'm not under any kind of illusion that everybody's going to be on board, but at least answer their questions. At least explore those options. At least put the numbers out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Kay.
Thank you. Well, in my short time of being in this town and being actively involved in what happens in this town, I've seen a couple of different problems, and I think first and foremost, the finances are the top of everybody's list. That's my opinion. And from what I understand, that there were some decisions made that on spending that may not have been the best. Maybe in hindsight they weren't the best. Perhaps at the time they were the right decisions. I don't know. But I'm not about rehashing the past. I want to identify a problem and fix it and move on. I think that's what the townspeople want. Let's fix the problem and move on and take steps so those problems don't happen again. That may be involving more people in the decision. It may be more fact gathering than was done before. I'm not sure, but I do know that if we don't identify the exact problems and fix them, we won't be able to move on. I do believe that there is some, to use Jamie's words, disenchantment, disillusionment. Yep, I think that that's true too. I'm encouraged by the crowd here. It's most I've seen at a North Brookfield event. Maybe there's nothing else to do here on Fridays, I don't know. It's really good to see. That means there's a lot of interest, and you're looking to see what we have to say. What I have to say is, I want prosperity, and I think you want it too. There's an appetite here. I mentioned it before. I see development for the Parks and Rec. I see things happening there. There was a first night type celebration in the beginning of the year. People want things to move along. I want to be part of that. And I want to include everybody in that. We can solve problems. There are answers to every problem. Answers to every problem. Some are not easy, some are difficult. But if we were able to see an end to the problem and what that solution will do for us for the future, I think we can bring people together. And it's all about bringing people together.
Now, I'm kind of known for throwing a ringer in every once in a while, and this is going to be one of those times. So I'm going to ask you a question that's not on the list, so you have to think a little bit, stretch. Right now, you've got the governor, the state senator, and our state rep sitting right here at the table with you. What are you going to tell them that you need in town? Take your time, no rush.
Help. That's what we need. Help. Finances, grants for the roads, help with the development of the town, an ability to lure more businesses in so that we can raise, better tax money so that we can improve the town. That's what we need. We need help. That's the best way I can put it. That's what we need. We need help. We all do.
Okay.
Policy. West of 495 is almost a different state than east of 495, and I know that's a bit of a cliche at this point, but it truly is. Policy to where towns that have more resources to write grants get the grants. But the towns that don't have resources to have a grant writer on staff lose out on that. That seems a bit strange to me. Energy policies. If you look at the energy policies going on in the state, they're crippling towns like us. The average natural gas customer is paying $80 a month to the Mass Save program. They talked us into moving to natural gas. Then they wouldn't build any more pipelines. Natural gas is higher than oil now. And the next step is to go all electric. Well, that might work out near Boston, but out here, not everybody can afford that. I'll be 52 this year. The future is getting painfully obvious to me. Some of the folks in our town, senior citizens who are struggling week to week, it's starting to hit home a little harder now. I see it coming. To John's point, and I hate to jump on, but help is required.
Feel free.
But it's help in a way that allows smaller communities that don't have the resources, that don't have the voice, to matter.
If we had the governor, state senator, and state representative here tonight, I would ask for their presence. And I don't mean tonight, I mean show up. Go around and take some drives with us on the roads. Go to take a look at what happens or doesn't happen at the school. Visit the fire department, the highway department, visit the sewer department, and talk to the people that are doing the work. Yep, we're a small town. So when they're prioritizing their work and their budget, just like anybody else, we may not get that attention because we're a small town. Well, darn it, our votes count just as much as everybody else's. And We want your presence, want you to see what happens in this town. We want you to know what happens in this town. We want you to know the people in this town, and these people care. The numbers here show it. People care about their town here, and we want the presence at the state level to come and look, find out what really matters to people in a small town, not just the bigger cities. We don't have the same problems, or the same volume of problems, I should say, but we have problems. We'd like to get their input, their help. What can they do for us? We vote for them. Our taxes go to their salaries. They should be answering to us to some degree, so they need to be here.
All right, last one. Is there anything else you'd like the voters to know before the election?
Yes. I'd like to start off with a quote. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in adapting the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. This quote speaks to me deeply. It reflects how I feel about the residents in North Brookfield and the town itself. I'm asking for your vote so I can be that unreasonable man for you, the one who pushes us forward, challenges the status quo, and makes sure that every voice in our community is heard. As I've said before, my roots in this town run deep. Though I've lived in many different parts of our great nation, North Brookfield is my home. My parents, Renee and Billy Mitchell, their first home was built right here in North Brookfield by Mr. Huback on Old East Brookfield Road. I grew up riding to the Brookfield orchards. I attended Grove Street School, like I mentioned earlier. I had recess in the common. Later on, I spent a lot of time just hanging out there with my friends and having football games on Sundays. My father, William Mitchell, otherwise known as Billy Mitchell, served this community as a police officer. My mother, Renee Mitchell, ran a successful ceramics business at that same house on Old East Brookfield Road with the support of my dad and us kids. My uncle, Nelson Barrett, simply known as the Chief, served as the chief of police in this same community. He started the beloved Toys for Joy program. For 2 generations, my family has proudly served this town. Heck, I even remember when the Rolling Stones came to town. Maybe even recorded a few songs over here. Some of these memories just stick with you. I would be honored to continue in my family's footsteps by serving you, the taxpayers, the residents of this great community. Now, while I've shared memories from my childhood and growing up here, don't get me wrong, I don't want to take us back. I want us to move forward. But what I do want is for all of you to fall back in love with the town the way I did growing up. I'll leave you with this. This is our town. Allow me to be your voice. I want to thank you all very much for coming to listen to me tonight, and I look forward to your vote on May 5th. Thank you.
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge how rough the next few years are going to be. Back a little while ago, we had a town meeting where we made a decision that we were going to take on more debt. And this year, some of that debt started hitting our wallets. And some of us had sticker shock, and some of us didn't understand what was happening. And I would like people to understand that it's not done. It goes up next year. So I would say that a majority of folks in town don't have an understanding of what we have already bid off. On top of the fact that we don't know what our sewer rates are going to be next year. I sat in a town meeting and I listened to numbers, and I saw some pictures, and I listened to folks stand up and describe what we were taking money out on. And quite frankly, I dug into numbers and I asked some questions, and I realized now that I was focusing on the wrong thing. I should have been asking what we were actually buying. In the past 6 months, 8 months, I have realized that I didn't understand what I was voting for. I understand how much $6.1 million is. But had I had any idea what we were actually buying for that 6.1, my voice would have been up with Mr. Metcalf, saying no way. As a citizen, as a taxpayer, I feel taken. And it would be easy to point to the folks on the select board, but it's not that easy. It is folks who put projects together who didn't have an understanding of the bigger picture, who didn't understand how municipal contracts work, who didn't understand what prevailing wages were, who didn't understand that you can't attach a hand-me-down given fuel tank to a $150,000 fuel system on a highway department. That can't go on. This can't continue. There has to be common sense, and there has to be more control over the messaging that goes to the voters. There has to be a deeper level of due diligence that are done before we make these kind of decisions. I've learned my lesson, and I'm doing my damnedest to keep it from causing more harm to this town than need be. But I don't want to be in the passenger seat anymore. I want to be in the driver's seat. I know where we are. I know where we need to be going. And the time is ready. The time is right for me. It's time for something new. It's time for new blood. It's time to do it a different way. And I hope you give me a chance. Thank you.
What else do I want you to know about me? I want you to know that nobody works harder than I do towards a goal or an objective. Nobody is more approachable than me. Nobody will listen better than me. And if I don't understand, I'm going to come back and ask you. I listen a lot. I watch a lot. I observe a lot. And I save my comments till I'm sure. I don't fly off the handle. I have thick skin, so people can say what they want about me and I don't get upset. I follow the goal. I stay on the path once I'm committed to it. And I think that's what a leader needs to do. We get easily distracted when somebody doesn't quite agree. Well, that's the time to talk. Straighten it out. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the other person is. Let's talk about it. I'm a very caring person. And nobody gets left behind as far as I can, if I have any control over it. I take a common sense, analytical approach to any problem. Common sense isn't always common, as we've always heard, and we probably have thought individually that common sense isn't always common. But we can find a common ground. I'm a person that I have great conviction in my beliefs. I have a strong family background. My father was heavily involved in politics in Spencer. My grandfather was a selectman and town moderator for many years in Leicester, and I had a cousin who was on the Tantascwa School Committee for many years from Brookfield. So I'm just picking up where the rest of my family has stopped. It's time for me to get involved. It's time for me to do my best for you. I hope that I can earn your trust with a vote on May 5th.
Gentlemen, you have a tough road in front of you. I speak from personal experience on that one. I get into town government in 1994 and started out on the Historic Commission, worked my way up through different committees. I think I've done every committee in town at one point or another. Now for the moderator's race. There isn't one. As I announced to you guys a year ago, I'm stepping down as moderator. It's been a heck of a ride for 12 years. I've enjoyed every minute of it. But I've been in government since 1994. I'm trying to segue out into a little less activity. I'm still involved. I'm on the Bay Path School Committee. I'm on the bylaw subcommittee, and I'm also the assistant town clock winder. So the reason I bring this up is that you're going to see some changes come town meeting. All right? Unless there is a substantial turnout of write-in votes for a particular candidate, and that candidate does or doesn't accept that position, when you get to town meeting, you may have to elect a moderator. So the town moderator is the one position in town that the selectmen cannot appoint. They can't appoint a temporary one. You, the voters, have to decide who you want to moderate your meeting. So if no candidate should surface through this process, at town meeting, Tara will be the initial moderator. She will have to open the meeting. She will call for a nomination for moderator. And that person then would have to be voted by you to moderate that meeting. So I just wanted to give you the heads up that when you get to the town meeting, things may be just a little different. So if you know of a candidate that you feel would be a very good moderator, write their name in. You know, give them an opportunity to do it. It's not a bad position. It's the one. Gene Kai used to say it's the truest representation of democracy there is the New England town meeting, because everyone has a chance to speak, everyone has an opportunity to cast their vote as they see fit, and or to question the management of the town on those votes. So take town meeting seriously. It's something, as I've said numerous times here tonight, all those votes that you get or that you make are all on the town. Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
During town meeting, if we nominate someone and they accept the position, is it just for that one meeting?
Just for that one meeting until the
Okay.
next election. So,
Got it.
yeah. So every town meeting up through that point, you're going to be nominating or, you know. Yes, sir. You have a question?
Can you explain to everyone here what the roles and responsibilities are of the town moderator?
Town moderator is responsible for the operation of the town meeting. He's to call the votes, he's to enforce the town bylaws, the town meeting time rules, and state law when it comes to any vote that the town makes. So he's also to keep control of the meeting, so everyone has an opportunity to speak and to be heard. He has, Tara and I were joking the other day, the selectman has the ultimate authority to manage the town meeting. So if there's say a rabble-rouser in town meeting that refuses to follow protocol, the moderator can have that person removed from town meeting. Now, I say this because it's kind of humorous, that I came across a book from 1825 that had the town meeting time rules for town meeting in it. And those town meeting time rules said that the moderator at his will, if that person does not respond affirmatively to his correction, that he can have the person bodily removed from town meeting and put in stocks, held in a cage, held in a private room for up to 3 hours, or to win the town meeting results, or resume.
Are we going back to that, Jim?
Yeah. Now, the regular town meeting time rules say that basically the same thing. I can have you removed from the meeting and detained for the period of time till the meeting's over, but that's at my own peril. I don't want to get caught for improper imprisonment. So, but these are the type of things that have to happen. You know, you have to be able to maintain order, and so everyone can have a chance to speak. Again, I will support anyone who decides to run for that position. I'm here. I will sit with you at town meeting. I will do whatever you feel is necessary till you're comfortable in that position. But I'm tired. I want to step down. So. And again, let's have another round of applause for these candidates tonight. And thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. And good night.
You're very welcome.